and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katie and I am heading into my third year of teaching out here in San Diego, and I'm going to be teaching first grade. But if you're not new here, thanks for coming back. It's almost been a year, so sorry about the delay. So much has happened since I've posted last, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to film a video today. I kind of want this to be a little bit of a story time, but also a little bit of a Q&A. I asked a question on my Instagram. I'll put my handle right here in case you would like to follow me over there. But I put a question out on that about a week ago, and I'm also wanting to answer some of your questions about that. So let's get going. Okay, quick story time. I'm gonna try to honestly make this as quick as possible, like a little bulleted story, if you will. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. So I'd say maybe towards the end of August, I'll say, just to put a time marker on things. My husband and I were at a Starbucks. I don't think I'll ever forget. I was planning just for the week to come for school in 5th grade, and then my husband was just working as well, but he was kind of just looking at other jobs, looking at what's out there, I guess. It's hard to explain, but in 2021, my husband and I were kind of just feeling like a change of sorts was coming. We didn't know what, we didn't know how small or how big of a change that was, but we just felt like something was gonna change in our life. Going off of that, feeling like there was a change coming, my husband was kind of just looking at jobs. I wasn't looking at jobs because my school year had just started. So that was happening, and my husband found this job posting in San Diego, and we had just been in June of 2021, we had just been on a vacation in San Diego, and we loved it. And so for a split second, I remember we were out to dinner, and I remember telling him, like, oh my gosh, Ben, I feel so peaceful here. It's really beautiful, and I've really just loved it. And just for funsies, we looked at Zillow, and we were quickly humbled when almost all of the houses and real estate stuff that came up on Zillow ended with an M for million. So that conversation quickly died down, quickly stopped when we were like, oh, I'm not sure if we would be able to live comfortably in Southern California. And then we're like, oh, let's just kind of like close the door on living in California. It's fine. We know a change is coming. We feel like something's going to change, but it might not be Southern California. So that was that. And I'm trying to think what happened then. Oh, so that was at our vacation. And fast forward to August, my husband saw this job posting in California, and when he looked more into it, and then when he read the description of the job made him so excited. And so I think I was just feeling, I don't know what I was feeling that day, because I'm not a particularly adventurous person, and I certainly don't say things like this very often, but I was like, what the heck, Ben? Go ahead, apply. What could happen? Oh, I don't know what I was thinking. So he applied, and I just kept on planning. He kept on working, and we were walking out of Starbucks, and Ben got a call. It was like 15 minutes after he applied for the job. And then you know how sometimes, at least on my phone and on my husband's phone, it says like where the call is coming from. The call on his phone said it was coming from San Diego. We freaked out. I said, oh my gosh, answer the phone. And then it was essentially his first interview at this church. And I don't know, just fast forward like through the beginning of the school year, Ben probably had like an interview a week. All of them were going really well. He was getting along and answering the questions really well. And I guess fast forward even more to October, my husband had made it to the end of like the interview process, and they were ready to fly us out. We put together just like a list of questions that we had for the church and for the pastor, and just, I don't know, just in general to get a feel for like what the church is about, and if we feel like we could see ourselves being a part of this church. I don't know if I mentioned this, but my husband is a worship pastor. Like, that's his job. So we flew out in October. He had his audition. It went really, really well. And essentially, that was it. That was the process. And the church offered Ben the job. And then we flew home. I feel like I've cried all the happy tears that I could of that whirlwind of a weekend in October when we went. But wow, I journaled all the way through it, and I remember just writing the same sentence of just saying like, wow, this is awesome. I really love it here. It feels like home. On the plane ride home, we were just floating on air. It felt like we barely said a word to each other, but there were so many moments where we turned and looked at each other and just kind of knowingly were like, I think this is it. I guess, in short, my husband got a job offer, and I don't know, we're obviously, you can guess since my husband's a pastor, we're God-fearing people. We believe that God has a plan for us and that he's guiding us through our life, and we're just trying our best to listen to him and his voice. But we believed that the Lord was calling us out to Southern California. So after my husband accepted the job, we were so excited, but then instantly I was met with so many feelings. So many feelings and so many emotions, because that means that I had to tell my principal and my beloved school community and my parents and my students that I was leaving. It wasn't a possibility for me to finish out this past school year. It just wouldn't have worked in this church's timeline. So as soon as we made the call and told the pastor in the church that we were doing it, we were moving out, we accepted the job, I was just met with a lot of strong feelings. So I don't know, in the fall, I just worked with my principal, so gracious. He was so loving about it all, and he was just really encouraging about it, and so was my team. That was really, really grounding for me during that time, because it was surely a whirlwind of emotions. I remember telling my parents, I sent a letter home, I sent an email home. Oh, that was just the hardest day. And I told my students, I had them ask me questions. I just told them everything. And then it's harder in 5th grade because they're old and they know what's happening. And it was really emotional for everyone. And oh my gosh, I don't even want to think too hard about it because I might just cry. But anyway, my last day at this school was the day before Christmas break, and that was the hardest day ever, because I haven't shared it on YouTube, but I was in my dream job, in my dream classroom. The students were a dream, the parents were a dream. Oh, my principal and my team were just so passionate, and so I just couldn't have imagined something better for myself for my first couple years of teaching. So it was just incredibly hard. It was incredibly hard to leave. But fast forward to now, I guess the beginning of 2022, I was looking for a job, obviously. I didn't have anything set up before we left. So I was on the hunt for a job, and within maybe 2-3 weeks of living here, I got a call from a principal, and there was a kindergarten teacher leaving just for medical reasons, and they needed somebody to fill in, so kind of just like a long-term substitute position, which is exactly what I was looking for at the time. So I jumped on this opportunity. I toured the school. I didn't even really have an interview with this principal. I think he was just really wanting to fill this spot really quickly before the students came back after their Christmas break. So I took it. I took this position. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never been in a kindergarten classroom. I've just come from 5th grade. I love the little kids. They're so cute. The team was wonderful. They made all these copies for me. They got me up to date with how they do their planning together and all these things. Such a good team, really good school, really good principal again. So I was just over the moon. I was so excited. And I jumped in on it. And if you follow me on Instagram and if you follow me on TikTok, I shared all that kindergarten was. It it was just not what I expected, and I laugh thinking about it now, but wow, it was just, I think I didn't just think through all the way of just how different 5th grade and how different kindergarten are. I had come from a 5th grade state of mind where I'm like talking to the 5th graders like I am talking now, just regular voice. Couldn't do that in kindergarten. Learned that very quickly. Getting the kids to trust me mid-year, getting the kids, like, I don't know, just essentially like doing the beginning of the school year again with these kindergartners. Just a bunch of 5 and 6-year-old little people. It was just incredibly difficult. It was a challenging time. But after that school year ended, I started applying for just jobs. A lot of people from our church talked about this particular school and was telling me to apply for this school. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. So I did, and long story short, again, I accepted a 1st grade position at this awesome school that I've heard only great things about. So I am so excited. I don't know if any of that made sense. Telling a story is hard, and I don't know if I did it well. But I thought, since that's kind of the culmination of the San Diego story for me and my husband, and for me, what it's been like teaching in San Diego, I thought I could kind of switch gears and go to a Q&A section. So I asked a question over on Instagram, and if you catch me looking down, I'm looking at my phone. I screenshotted questions that were asked. Somebody asked how Oakley's doing, but Oakley is my puppy. He was a COVID pup. He is just a ball of energy. He's a mini Australian Shepherd, bright blue eyes, really, really beautiful, really smart, but wow, so much energy. And somebody asked how he's doing. He's doing great. Like, San Diego wise, I think he loves just the consistent weather. Just the climate here is always pretty stable. The consistency of the climate, I think, is great for him. The move itself was very difficult on Oakley. He is kind of an anxious dog, we've learned. So we had to give him anxiety meds before we drove out here, because I think maybe a mixture of like the heat of the car and the speed of the speed that we were going on the highways really freaked him out. So we had to give him medication, which we felt sad about, but that calmed him down a little bit during the trip. And since being here, like I said, he's liked it here, I think, in general, but he is just a weirdie because he hates other dogs. He does great with people, which I love, but my students are laughing. If you're watching this and you've been one of my students, you'll know, because I tell stories about Oakley and his weirdness all the time with other dogs. But wow, we have tried to take him to dog beaches here because that's a thing. But we've tried to take him to dog beaches. We've tried to take him to little parks just to meet other dogs. No. He is ferocious. He ferociously barks. He gets low and he snarls and he even tries to nip. So that's just been awful, to be honest. We skirt around other dogs, and I think he just likes being alone. But overall, that was a really long way of saying how he's doing. But he's doing well. He just doesn't do well with other dogs, and he had a hard time with the actual move of coming out here. Another person asked, how does the education system in California differ from what you were used to in Illinois? And this is a good question, and I really don't know if I can give a good answer because I have only been here 6 months and I've only subbed. So I might not be able to give the best answer to that now because I'm not actually teaching. But what I've noticed is that there are still zones in Illinois, based on where you lived or what neighborhood you were at, you went to a certain school. And I think that still happens for the most part, but people do not follow it. The school that I'm working at, a lot of people I think apparently want to go, want their kids to go to this school. So no matter where they live in San Diego, parents will drive their kids so long to go to certain schools that they want their kids to go to, which is a weird concept for me to understand. But yeah, as far as like standards and as far as, I don't know, just the system in general, I'm not sure if I can give a good answer to that right now because, yeah, I haven't really been in it for very long. But I'll have to maybe do an updated video on that question once this coming school year is done, or maybe in the middle of it as I'm in it. Another question I got asked, this made me think because I had to think back, but somebody wants to know the best advice that I got before I was a teacher. I don't remember who gave me this piece of advice, but I've really held on to it when times have been tough or when I've gotten really stressed, is just the idea of giving yourself grace. And just like sitting in that and like remembering that you're not perfect and you're not going to have it all together. We're human and we're all not perfect. So somebody told me once before I started teaching to give myself grace. Like to just remember that you're not perfect and you're not going to handle everything perfectly. But I don't know, just like reminding yourself of that. Another question. Oh, the same person asked a different question. And she wanted to know how to plan well. And I'm so excited that she asked this because, look, oh my gosh, I just got a new teacher planner for the coming school year and I'm so excited about it. Oh, look. Oh, he wants to see too. Look how beautiful. What? I am just so excited. I got this yesterday. I love the Happy Planner. I've used it the past like couple years of my teaching and it's just worked for me pretty well. If you're not familiar with Happy Planner, they have just a really simple layout for things, and then they make like a teacher version of planners as well. That's the one that I got, and then for every month that they have like a planning spread for, they have like beautiful cover pages. And since like my planner has like a floral, like watercolor floral like design to it, all of the cover pages for each of the months in this are just so beautiful. Anyway, how to plan well. I can answer for how I've planned and how it's worked for me the past couple years, but everybody's different, and it's taken some time for me to like figure it out for myself. What I've liked to do, the Happy Planner specifically, I like it because, again, like I said before, it has like it has little tabs for like each of the months. So obviously the month that I'm in, like whenever my team meets for the first time this school year, I'll open up to August. I can look at the month spread and I can quickly jot down, oh, picture day. I've already jotted down the first day of school, stuff like that. And then what I really like, I'm going to do this more in depth probably today or tomorrow actually, but it starts going into weekly spreads, which I love. This is where I just like to flip when my teams have just planned together. The team just got together once a week and kind of just overviewed, well, like, are there any big things coming up? Are there any events? Do we need to send out any emails for parents? Oh, let's work through that. Or do we have tests? I don't know. Just I'm trying to think of all the things that we went through together. And then in my planner, I haven't done it yet because I just got this planner, but in my old one last year, I put the subjects on each of these like columns here. So if we were discussing, oh, what are you doing in reading this week? I could just kind of listen, because especially I was new to 5th grade last year, so it was just nice to listen to what the other like veteran 5th grade teachers were doing. And I kind of just jotted it down, and then I did it in pencil always, which I don't know, because I'm just a perfectionist sometimes, and especially when it comes to like planning stuff like this, it can get, I don't know, it can get stressful for me pretty quickly if everything's jumbled. So I did it in pencil so I could like erase if I needed to, or if I needed to like push something back, I could just like draw an arrow to the next day, like, oh, I didn't get to this lesson today, I'll do it tomorrow. So that's where I start when my team plans. So I just like during our planning meetings, I just brought my like paper planner with me. So then I had that ready to go week by week. And then when I went to go plan just for the day, I went and I did that digitally through Google Drive. Whenever I went to go plan daily, like for the next day or whatever, when I was inputting plans, I was just looking at my weekly spread that I had just figured out with my team. So I had like the pacing already figured out in my plans, so I was able to just kind of like glance down at it and then kind of transfer it into my digital plans. And I just make a blank template at the beginning of the school year. Like once my team gets together and figures out, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Like, I don't know, my teams in the past we've all followed like the same schedule for the most part during the day. So I made a template on that on Google Drive, just simple. And so I just like put daily plans for the week of, and then I left that blank because it was a template. And then on the side of the page, I just typed out that schedule that I had for the day. So then when I have the actual plans that I figured out with my team, like, oh, we're doing the water cycle unit. We're starting it. We're going to start with lesson 1 that's going to last 3 days. Then I can just put that into my daily lesson plans on Google Drive, if that makes any sense. But I use both. Like some teachers only do digital plans. Some, like, there are like plenty of websites out there. I know the biggest one that I've heard teachers use is called Planbook. So people, like some teachers do 100% on Planbook, and then they just like print that off. Some teachers, like I know so many, like Happy Planners. Some there's like, oh, and there's so many. If you just go to Target, there are so many types of like planners. So I don't know, it might, if you're just starting off in your like teaching career, it just might take some time, like everything else, to just like figure out your groove, figure out what you like, figure out what works for you, and figure out what doesn't work for you, because the way I do things obviously might not work for you or somebody else. But that's at least how I do it. I love the weekly spread because it's a way for me to like see in front of me the pacing, so it kind of like holds me accountable, I guess, to just making sure I get done with things in time, just keeping things on schedule, I guess, and then just transferring that into an already made template that I created for myself in Google Drive for those daily plans. I hope that made sense for planning, but yeah, I do both. I have a planner that I love, and then I transfer that to a digital like daily plan that I just print out every day. And the last question, the same person asked the last thing, and she said, I already did best advice, but then she also wanted advice for someone that I would give someone starting their teaching career. And I've thought a lot about this. I don't know if you're watching and if you're a teacher or whatever. I don't know who's watching this, but I've just like, especially since COVID, I don't know. I think things are changing, and I'm noticing. I'm trying to figure out a way to say it. I'm noticing just a change in the system, and I'm noticing there's a mass exodus of teachers, because teachers are, I'm just noticing, at least just on my social media feeds, of just teachers being fed up, teachers just not being treated fairly, teachers not being supported and whatnot. So I'm noticing just kind of like a mass exodus. I feel very lucky to say that I can't relate to that, and I would just give you the advice, if you're just starting off your teaching career, to just like listen to your passion and like know why you're there, and know, like, remind yourself constantly of like why you think, like, why you're studying to become a teacher. Like, that was just really important for me, because obviously life is tough and there are challenges that are going to come your way, and like teaching surely is not like perfect, and you're working with imperfect people, so like there are going to be challenges. But I would just give you the advice to remind yourself of the passion that you have. And being a believer, I believe that I have been called to teach, at least for this time in my life. I don't know what's ahead for me, but I love teaching. And it sounds very cheesy, and I've said it in almost all of my interviews that I've been a part of to like be a teacher, but I've just said there's something like almost magical that happens like something comes over me when I teach, or something comes over me when I just feel like I click with students, or like when I feel like I have most of my students' attention and they're learning and they're growing and those light bulbs are going off, I just know that it's my calling. Something happens in me when I notice that happening, or like when a student feels like comfortable enough to come and share something with me that's going on in their life. Like, I don't know, I don't take any of that lightly, and I love it. I love being a person in my students' lives to just like be with them and be a human with them, and to be a vehicle for them to learn and grow, and to like hopefully go out into the world and make it an awesome, better place, if that makes any sense. So like, there are going to be rough times ahead, and there are going to be really, really negative voices, especially on social media, and especially just, I don't know, in the time that we're in. It's important to just like listen to those and like take note, obviously, but then to just like not let yourself be consumed with those negative voices. Like, I don't know, just myself reminding myself that, wow, Katie, you've been called to be a teacher, at least for this time in your life. Listen to the passion, listen to your calling. You're here for a reason. You're studying to be a teacher for a reason, and just reminding yourself of that. Obviously things change, but at least for now, and at least to the person that I know asked this question, like, you were meant to do this. So just reminding yourself of your calling. But yeah, that's all I got for you today, I think. I really just wanted to come on here and share just all that's been happening in my life, because there has been so much that has happened, and I have just wanted to come on and just share all about it, and to answer some questions, and honestly, kind of selfishly, to just kind of have something to look back on, and to watch and to remember this time in my life, because it's a pivotal time in my life, just in all aspects, you know? Me and my husband took a huge risk coming out here. We didn't know anybody, families all in Illinois, making all these new friends, joining a new church community, like all the things. I want to just have something to remember this time in my life. And that is all I have for this video, at least. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new here and you liked this video and hearing the crazy California story, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe and even comment. I'd love to get to know people on here, and I'd love to just grow this space and use this space to connect with people and teachers. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in.